So you keep saying that you want to change and that you want a better life, that you want more for yourself, that you want to be a different type of person, but you don't want to sacrifice anything. That doesn't work. To make big changes in life, you have to sacrifice. Sacrifice things you love, things that you enjoy doing, things that make you feel good, basically for the prospect of reaching another echelon, getting to another level. To make the most recent changes in my life, and I'll put on the screen now, this is what I looked like a few months ago, you know, compared to now. And the way in which I managed to achieve that, the way in which I managed to actually make such a transformation that I was trying to make for years. I was trying to get leaner, I was trying to get in shape, I was trying to fix myself for years. The thing that made the biggest difference and set me off on the path was the fact that I sacrificed the thing that I loved the most at the time. I was in a 3-year relationship, and obviously at the start I was, you know, focused, everything like that, but then I got comfortable. And it was my fault, of course. It's my fault, of course. I know what I did wrong, and I know what was holding me back in that relationship. But it's not to say that if you're in a relationship, you have to leave it to be better. But in my case, I did. Because for me, the only way I was going to create massive change was to take massive action and sacrifice the things that were keeping me comfortable. Being in a 3.5 year relationship, I decided to say, you know what? I need to stop. I need to get out of this. I need to eradicate this from my life so that I can do better. And had I not sacrificed that relationship, had I not come out of that kind of comfort zone that I was in, I wouldn't have even begun to do the work on myself. I wouldn't have done it because I was happy, I was comfortable. Even though I wasn't happy with how I looked, it was basically compensated by the fact that I had a nice cushy relationship. I had this girl that was always, you know, messaging me, FaceTiming me, etc, etc, etc. But at the end of the day, you don't get massive results by living that way. So when you're thinking about the things that you want to change in your life, when you're thinking about the progress that you need to make, the only way you're going to make progress and change the results in your life is by changing the habits and actions and basically the way you behave. You're changing your behaviors. The only way you get different results is by basically changing your behaviors to the point where the new behaviors that you get are conducive to your goals, and that's the only way. So if you're stuck and you want to make changes, maybe you're fat like I was, and you want to get in shape, you need to look at the biggest thing in your life that is holding you back, the biggest anchor in your life, the thing that you love doing or the thing that you enjoy keeping around, but you know deep down in your soul is holding you back from your potential. And obviously there are a lot of things that you could sacrifice, there are a lot of things that you could look at and say, yeah, that fits the criteria. But what I noticed is the way that you create the momentum that is required in order to get to your goals in life is to basically sacrifice the thing in your life that you love the most, that you know isn't good for you. So for me, like I said, it was a relationship. For some people, it's going to be weed, alcohol, partying, casual sex. There's so many things that you could look at and say, yeah, that's worthy of sacrificing. But the thing is, the bigger the sacrifice that you make in order to get the wheel spinning in terms of changing your life, the easier it is to get rid of the little things that are holding you back along the way. And what happens is when you prove to yourself that you're going to make that step, that you are going to get rid of this thing that you love so much, but you know is holding you back, so you're going to get rid of it. When you actually take that step, what it creates is this kind of sunk cost fallacy. So you know in the back of your mind, well, I've already gotten rid of this thing now, there's no going back now, so you have to push forward. And basically what that does, it turns your goals from wants into musts, because now you have to justify the fact that you've just got rid of this thing that you love. So for example, in my case, yeah, I got rid of a 3-year relationship. That was the biggest thing, the biggest sacrifice that I could have made at the time, by cutting it off and basically going through the pain of that, right? Everything else that I had to do, all the other things that I had to quit, like video games, junk food, etc, etc, all those things, it wasn't overnight, but they were so much easier to get rid of. By getting rid of the anchors in my life, I basically invested in myself and said to myself, right, I'm detaching from all this stuff, so now I must make something of this detachment. I must transform myself through this sacrifice. That's basically what happens. So by sacrificing the biggest anchor in your life, you create a sunk cost fallacy and also a domino effect through that sunk cost fallacy sort of thing, right? And that's how I went from fat to lean in literally 4 months. It only takes like 6 months, 6 to 12 months maximum of intense focus and sacrifice in order to basically transform your life. Doesn't mean you're going to achieve the greatest success that is available to you in your life within that time, but it just means that you're going to be a completely different person within that time frame. Within 6 to 12 months, you can change who you are, you can change absolutely everything. And that's what I realized. But like they say, if you change nothing, nothing will change. The best thing you can do for yourself is basically change your habits, change the way you perceive the world, change your actions. Because obviously all these things that you've been doing up until now haven't really gotten you anywhere. So something has to change. But yeah, that's pretty much what it takes. You know, to make big changes, you gotta make sacrifices and take massive action. And I wouldn't have lost weight without doing that. And if you're still stuck thinking about the things that you want, the person that you could be, well, it all starts with a sacrifice. You have to sacrifice who you are now to become who you want to become. Another way you can put it as well is if you fail to sacrifice your goals.
I completely got the saying wrong. It's if you fail to sacrifice for your goals, then your goals become the sacrifice. In the moment I said, you have to sacrifice your goals. That makes no sense. But anyway.
Balls in your court.